Welcome everyone to After Hours Gaming League's tournament. We are in preseason week 2. We have a great game between IBM and Salesforce. IBM is on the blue team, Salesforce is on the red team. I am joined by my good friend TastyBacon. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Excited to check out this game and see which of these two is going to come out on top.
No problem. And you know what? These teams are playing for a great cause. IBM is playing for Youth Service America, and Salesforce is playing for Child's Play. So we're going to be seeing who goes on. Remember, this is still preseason, so you know what? None of these teams they haven't really gotten a feel for each other just yet. You know, they're getting into the groove, getting some synergy between themselves. Hopefully, you see a really great game. And you know what? We're already into the rift, and we see Salesforce setting up a defensive line already across the river.
Yeah, it's going to be. Looks like they're not really going to be going for any kind of invading or level 1 fighting between either of these two teams. Both sides just kind of getting their vision down. Some pings are going down up on that top side from Salesforce here, but it doesn't look like anything is going to really be happening right just yet.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting to me to see is actually Coco Rocha on that Teemo pick. It's really uncommon to even see Teemo picked in a I would guess this is a competitive format. So yeah.
Yeah, Teemo's not often picked anywhere really, and except for people just kind of wanting to have a whole lot of fun. Which, of course, this is also because it is the preseason. Preseason, it is all about fun and them playing for the charities and things like that. So maybe just kind of wanting to get out there and just be like, hey, come deal with the Teemo.
Exactly, and you know what? Even if they do, and if we look at a more analytic standpoint, Teemo has such a great ability to just stall the game out. So even if this IBM team does fall behind a little bit in the early and mid game, Teemo can easily stall out the game and just help his team essentially get even with the Salesforce team, and it's just a great way to help your team get back in the game. We are into that laning phase, and we're actually been pretty far in. It looks as though we're going to be seeing Maokai versus Teemo in that top lane, Rek'Sai and Nautilus in the jungle. Then we have Karma versus Orianna in that mid lane, and then Lucian Janna versus Corki Nami in the bottom lane. And Karma is putting a lot of damage onto Orianna already, using the tether really aggressively. Doesn't get the snare, but pushing away from the line of minions. Right now, Gigabo just done a little bit of Zephyr, doing something. Coco Rocha, though, he is being pushed towards his tower. Hopefully, Maokai should be able to be a little bit aggressive on the Teemo. The blinding shot's not going to do too much. Aqua Prison locking down onto Lucian, using Relentless Pursuit, trying to put some damage. Exhaust is onto Corki. He's just going to Valkyrie away, and that fight was definitely in favor of the red team.
I do just want to mention how great I think it is that Samuel L. Jackson is playing Lucian. Just gonna throw that out there.
Just gonna throw that out there. I didn't want to say anything either because I just didn't want to say anything about that. Oh, but that was just a great fight in that bottom lane. Oh, another Aqua Prison. Samuel L. Jackson, he just needs to use those Relentless Pursuits over and so defensively. But then again, that's just what the name implies. Oh, looks like Ignite is gone on to Karma. She's using the shield to get a bit of a slow. Chilling Smite was being used. The Flash and the Burrow. Gonna be used by Flint Striker for the knockup. Death Knight, the tethered, is the empowered tether is gonna heal her up a little bit, and it doesn't look as though that gank is gonna go anywhere right now. Venom Spice on the Orianna. He is getting pretty low in terms of health on the Orianna. He's gonna have to back away, and Death Knight on the Karma. It's looking pretty good for him.
Yeah, it definitely needed that gank from the Rek'Sai because Karma was doing a lot of poke and harass over onto the Orianna. And that's just kind of a demonstration of what that Rek'Sai, how she can gank. Like, she came in from behind the Karma and was still able to get in on her because of the fact that she has so much mobility. However, there's a fight in the bottom.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of a scuffle. Kikubo taking a lot of extra damage. She needs to respect the fact that her AD carry is not there and play a little bit more defensively. If the Aqua Person had landed, we could have been seeing a kill or maybe just a flash blown by Kikubo.
Yeah, fortunately for her, that flash is still up, so a lot of summoners are still available in that bottom lane. It looks like only one is down from each side, so not a whole lot has been really forced out from that bottom side. Of course, Lucian getting that first recall has a slight item advantage now, but only being able to pick up that Doran's Blade isn't going to be the best of advantages, and now they're fighting again.
But, you know, in that mid lane, Death Knight gets ganked again by Flint Striker on the Rek'Sai. He's looking for the kill. No! The spike will not be able... The spike will not be up and is going to be able... Death Knight's going to be able to get away. Nautilus still sticking around in that mid lane. Looks like Rek'Sai went back to farm up the Razorbeaks. Venom Spice has the advantage back in that lane, but if we look at the CS, Karma 30 compared to Orianna 15.
And we do see, I'm a little surprised that Rek'Sai did just take those Razorbeaks. She didn't have her smite up. I was gonna say I was surprised that she didn't smite that to get the vision buff and then go back towards that mid area just to see if there is a ward there, which of course she would have found one, but the smite wasn't up to be able to get that small buff, and instead she'll use it on that Krug camp to get the stun bonus on every 6th attack.
And I'm just surprised Nami doesn't have her flash up. So when red team was pushing in, I'll get back to that. Aqua Prison laying down onto. Nope, that's just a little bit of poke. But when Nami doesn't have her flash down, and when red team was pushing in towards the blue team, I'm surprised that Nautilus didn't choose to gank that instead of the mid lane. With Nami's flash down, there's really no escape for her. That would have been a really easy lockdown and most certainly a kill.
Yeah, it definitely would have been a better choice for that, but I mean, I think he happened to be in the top side jungle.
Yep, Rek'Sai in that bottom side. No Aqua Prison to lock down Lucian. He's just going to flash away after all, and that was a really successful gank by the Rek'Sai. Putting a little bit of aggression and, you know, just popping the flash.
Getting the flash out of Lucian is definitely going to make him a bit of a target for the next few minutes, as knowing that it won't be up. Although Corki and Nami are both starting to get pretty low on mana.
Yeah, they might have to. Oh, Rek'Sai coming back in that lane, but there was a ward, so they know what's happening. Lucian doesn't have a flash, but they're gonna focus down Kikabo on the Jenna. The heal being used by Lucian to give his ally a little bit of movement speed. And I don't think that was the completely right choice. Lucian didn't have a flash up. That would have been a really easy kill.
Yeah, I think it was that because Lucian got that relentless pursuit off early, he was a little bit too far away that they didn't feel that they could chase down onto him. And Janna was just a lot closer, so they do get that Janna's flash out now as well. So who knows, we might be seeing a third gank coming down there pretty soon, knowing that both laners for blue team do not have that flash now.
And it looks like you're right, he's headed down there right now. Janna, she's going to be putting a ward in that bush. Oh, but they're going to be spotted out by the Rek'Sai. There's the knock-up. She's looking for something. Chilling Strike actually going to be used on the Lucian. Aqua Prison locking him down. And we might see another kill. There's another knock-up from the Unburrow. And first blood goes to Nami.
Yeah, not the person you necessarily want to get the first blood on. Especially, you definitely would have preferred to have it on either the Rek'Sai or the Corki. But, I mean, you know, making sure you get that kill is obviously far more important than trying to play around and get it onto a specific champion and then missing out on the opportunity.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, I say, Rek'Sai's using that Chilling Smite so effectively, using it every time, making sure it's up every single time she has the gank off. She's hanging around in that mid lane, but I don't think the Karma is going to be available to die. Oh, no, there's the Burrow and the knock-up as well. Death Knight, he's just going to use the move speed to get away. There is the Shockwave. It's going to miss, and here comes Xaxis with the chain, locking down Flint Striker. There's the flash, but it's not going to go over the wall, and he's looking really bad. The auto attacks from Karma are coming out. Is he going to happen to kill? No, there's the flash and auto attack.
Yes, not the best of ganks there, and of course that Shockwave missing ended up being really big, as it allowed blue side to know, hey, that cooldown, that ultimate is on cooldown now, and we have a lot more damage we can throw in still, so let's get back in and re-engage.
There's the tether from Karma again, putting a lot of extra damage. The Spirit Fire doing so much, poking down Orianna so much.
Yeah, doing a really good job at harassing. Of course, Orianna is kind of known as, you know, that really defensive mid laner who's can just play really safe and continue to farm. And but Karma is just being so aggressive. Still only sitting on a Dorn's ring.
Yep. In that top lane, Maokai uses the Twisted Advance onto the Teemo. There's the Vengeful Assault. And looks like that's the kill. It's going to go over.
Yeah, did have to burn the flash for it, but I'd say it's definitely worth it. Especially because neither jungler has really put any focus onto this top lane whatsoever so far.
I meant Vengeful Maelstrom. I said Vengeful Assault. But, you know, oh, there's the Rek'Sai ultimate. Where is he going? It's actually headed over to the bottom lane. They want that Lucian kill, but I think he's a little bit too far away to go for it.
Yeah, definitely. Blue side being smart, hearing that Rek'Sai scream, which of course everyone on the map can hear, and immediately backed off as soon as they heard it. So good job with the map awareness to know that it was probably going to be a gank down bottom because of the fact that top and mid lanes were both empty. So it was kind of obvious that she was going to be heading to this bottom lane, so they were able to back off in time.
Right. And you know what, something I've seen for a while but I haven't really mentioned yet, Nautilus has the Poacher's Knife. And it's really weird for me to see that item on him for one of two reasons. I think the Stalker's Blade, not Stalker's Blade, the Trailblazer would have been a lot better. And the fact that he hasn't really been counter jungling all too much to take advantage of the passive. It's just a really weird buy to me.
Yeah, I really haven't seen him in the enemy jungle or really ganking much at all. He's ganked that mid lane twice so far, but Rek'Sai has definitely had a lot more impact on this game in the early goings here.
No, yeah, we'll have to see how he'll transition that, but I'm not too sure about that initial pickup.
Yeah, he is still in his jungle. He's got a lot of his own camps up, and even if he was to go into the enemy jungle right now, there's really nothing for him to find. So it's not going to pay off for a while, but there's a fight.
We have a fight going down. Tidal Wave being used for the knockup. Both the exhausts on the AD carries. Aqua Prison, it's going to lock down Samuel L. Jackson, but the Monsoon from Janna is going to knock him away and heal him up. Meanwhile, in that top lane, Vengeful Maelstrom was used by the Maokai, but the Teemo Mushrooms are doing way too much damage. They're going to have to back away. Rek'Sai was in that top lane for the gank. Maybe a tower dive could be available, but I think they're just going to back away from this.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, and I do want to just go back to that bottom lane. That Janna ultimate was absolutely crucial. Blew both enemies away to save that Lucian, because if that didn't go down, he would have easily been picked up for another kill.
It's looking really bad for the red team right now. They're out of mana, so Nami can't really put down the Aqua Prison, and even when she does have the mana, she's going to have to use Ebb and Flow to heal up Corki.
And Nautilus is coming in from behind, so this could be a gank about to happen.
He does have Depth Charge available. He's just going to walk in that lane. They know he's there, and I don't think it's going to be available. I don't think that a kill is possible. Karma, again, in that mid lane, getting ganked by the Rek'Sai. She's just using the speed boost every single time, and he has to know when it's futile.
Yeah, the top lane is getting very low. We'll have to keep an eye on if something happens up there, as both Teemo and Maokai have their health bars well below half, but it looks like blue side is posturing up for this dragon.
Ooh, but Kokorocha, he's taking a lot of health, taking a lot of damage from the Arcane Smash Hippopotamus. Him as well. Rek'Sai being caught out by the Nautilus. Depth Charge with the knockup. That's actually really weird. I'll get back to that. Looks like, oh, there's a Shockwave locking down 3 members, and then Zaxxas is gonna go down, but Venom Spice, he's gonna fall because of it as well. This is a 3v2 right now. There is the tether locking down Corki. Teleport from Maokai being channeled right now. This blue team, they need to get away. IBM, they're going to be forced off of this dragon. And I think red team Salesforce, they'll be able to take advantage of it. There's a 1 ward going down, put down by Karma. But they're looking for it. Rek'Sai with the ultimate. He's going to be making it a 4v3. Howling Gale being used. They're just resetting the dragon. Karma being locked down, but there is no Twisted Advance. There it is. Locking down the Karma, but so much health is being regen. Rek'Sai causing so much havoc, but the Teemo Mushrooms zoning her out so well. And there's the Blinding Dart. Is she going to actually fall? No. No. Yes. No, she's not going to fall.
No. Very close. That poison was ticking. Ticking down quite a large chunk of her health. That Teemo just not quite having enough AP onto that build yet. But very close fight there. I'm really surprised that IBM went in to try and contest that dragon because their health bars were so low. But I have to definitely give them credit as they were able to get out of there without losing anybody and prevented that dragon going down. So that objective is still on the map here, 15 minutes in.
Yeah. Actually, they did go 1-for-1, I believe. Yeah, Oriana fell along with Nautilus.
No, but I mean in the re-engage afterwards.
Oh, okay, yeah. And you know,
Yeah, in the initial dragon fight, there was 1-for-1, but then in that re-engage, blue team was so low, or IBM, they had like, I think it was like 2 or 3 health bars were at about a quarter health,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
somehow managed to stay alive.
Oh, yeah. Again, if you look at it, the only really form of engage on the red team is going to be either the Maokai or the Nami. There's really not much else that they're going for them. Maybe Shockwave if Oriana is close enough, but you have a Maokai, so you're not going to want to get close.
I've actually seen a couple teams recently use a Rek'Sai as like that ball delivery system.
Oh yeah,
like having her burrow with the ball on her and then just charge into the enemy team, get that shockwave off.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and again, like if we honestly look at it, there's Rek'Sai and Maokai, so it's really versatile on who can actually just engage the fight.
Yeah, the one thing I do want to point out right now is the top and mid lanes. Although Rek'Sai ulting, we'll have to see where she goes. She's going towards this dragon area.
It looks as though Salesforce, they want to go for round 2. Right now, IBM has a ton of vision coverage. Maokai doesn't have teleport in that top lane, so it's going to be a full 4v4 if anything does end up going down.
Yeah. Before they went for that dragon, I was gonna, of course, dragon not getting actually fought over just yet, as too many members from blue side were there. We could be having a fight around this area though, as that top lane tower does end up going down in favor of red side.
Yeah, Teemo just had to back off. He was way too low to even fight for it. And if we look at these builds right now, Maokai finishing up the Rod of Ages, so he's hit a really nice power spike. He's tanky. He's going to be doing a lot of extra damage as well. Teemo still hasn't really finished a full item yet. He has a Haunting guy, so that's possibly a Liandry's Torment. So he's going to rely heavily on his mushrooms to just zone people out, just provide the threat of... just give the threat of the mushrooms. But if we look right now, there's not a lot of mushrooms on the map. And he really needs to put those down if he wants to take advantage of that build. Looks like Maokai, he's being ganked by the Nautilus and the Teemo. No hook is gonna come out from him and was on cooldown. And it looks like Maokai's gonna live to tell the tale.
Yeah, Teemo hasn't really been able to get those mushrooms around the map because of the fact that this Maokai has just been in complete control in that top lane. He's up by about 40 CS and has that tower down. So Teemo's really just kind of been forced to stay up there and try and keep Maokai from just shoving down that entire lane. But Maokai's just been able to completely bully him out. We see a similar kind of situation coming from that mid lane as Karma is on the beneficial side of that matchup in the mid lane. But, of course, Rek'Sai has been putting a lot of attention onto that mid, and here she comes again.
Yep, another knockup. Oh, and another shockwave. Now Venom Spicy's taking the aggression. No tether is going to lock her down. The speed boost from the distance was enough to keep her alive, and she'll be able to get away. But that was a huge amount of damage coming out from the Karma. And I got to say, the Morella Namicon build, it's being seen a lot more often because Athene's really isn't as cost efficient anymore. So, and because of that, like, they'll give her the mana regen, it'll give her the damage, and it'll even give her the Grievous Runes. And it's just, it's a great item right now.
Not to mention the cooldown reduction as well. It's such a great item for the cost efficiency. But Karma kind of getting caught out a little bit here, but she should be okay.
The tether was being used, but it's not going to be used to heal up. Inner Flame, is it going to hit? It is going to hit. It's on the Maokai only, though. She's on the backline, throwing them out whenever it's possible. She needs to give a shield over to Nautilus, but she's out of mana. There goes the tile away for the knockups. 3 members are already dead. 1 member, Samuel Jackson, has fallen. And Corky, he's on the backlines. There goes the blinding dart by Teemo, saving his team from certain death. Ebb and Flow being used onto the Maokai just to heal him up a little bit. That's 5 members near that dragon from Salesforce, but they're all looking very low. If Teemo actually just checks the dragon right now, he can easily pick up a couple kills.
Fortunately for Salesforce, that drag did go down rather quickly, so they are going to get that objective. The one thing from that fight I really just didn't like was that Lucian's positioning. He came in, at first it was great. He was at the, behind the enemy team. He had flanked around them, but then all of a sudden the rest of Salesforce collapsed in as well, and he was then stuck in the middle of all 5 of their members, and they were able to just completely just take him down from full. Even though he had originally been on the backside of the fight, it ended up with him standing in the middle, and so he was the only one to go down. But that was enough of an advantage for Salesforce to be able to go and get that objective.
And it looks as though Lucian's actually opted for a Triforce, and you know what, Triforce Lucian, it was pretty common near the end of Season 3, but then it just fell off.
I did see it. It was still played a bit in Season 4 as well, but of course nowhere near as much as just getting like an Infinity Edge and a Yomu's and things like that.
And so yeah, it's just surprising to see him going for that Triforce. Again, like you said, you usually see the Infinity Edge.
So much damage from that Karma.
Exactly. Orianna has got to be scared. Like, Karma has no qualms about a 2v1 situation with Orianna and Rek'Sai. And I gotta say, Venom Spice, she really needs to just lock down those shockwaves. That's two key shockwaves that we've seen already. Perhaps even 3, that really could have meant kills had they actually hit. And Aqua Prison locking down the Lucian. He's taking the damage. Talaway for the knockup. And that's 1 kill onto the Corki. Kikobo using the Valkyrie to reposition himself in a position where the Monsoon is going to knock him away from Janna, but in a really nice spot where that would have secured the kill. But no! He was a bit too confident with the Rocket Barrage, and he is going to live.
And he also may have gotten scared a little bit because of the fact that he was pushed underneath that tower. So he had to was probably a little bit more concerned about getting out of tower range when he fired that rocket. But still 3-0-1 on this Corki. He is going to be very strong. But this Karma is just so big right now. Having 150 CS and those 2 kills, she is going to be a force to deal with.
And if we look at the gold, we'll get back to that. Karma getting banked by the Rek'Sai again, but she is not scared. She takes the kill onto Rek'Sai, but it's a 1-for-1 with Orianna joining the fight at the last moment.
Yeah, she managed to land her shockwave and got herself a kill from it, just like we were talking about. So when that ultimate does hit, it is such a big damage and CC burst.
The double Morella Namacon build is coming out from the Karma. I'm not
Somebody watched IEM San Jose.
Someone watched it. Was it actually on the Karma or was it on someone else though? I believe
it was on someone else. I believe it was Bjergsen that did it on, I think, a little Blanc.
Yeah, I think you're right. Rek'Sai coming in with the ultimate in that mid lane. I don't think Zaxxas, the flash and knockup. Whoa, he's being really aggressive. Zaxxas, is he gonna fall? Oh, he's actually gonna fall. Flint Striker. He knew his limits and he actually went for the kill. I honestly thought Zaxxas would have been able to get away.
It was one of the downsides of Nautilus is the fact that he is incredibly slow, especially with the mobility boots. If you're able to knock off that passive, which of course, during that fight, Flint Striker was taking that passive off the entire time, so he didn't have any move speed to escape from her.
Catching out the Janna, that's another kill onto Salesforce. It's going to be in the form of Corki. They're looking for a kill onto Lucian using the burrow, and another knockup. That's going to lock him down. A lot of damage, and that, oh so safely taking the kill with the ebb and flow.
Yeah, that burrow just really being used quite well by Flint Striker to move around the map and reposition, get into these fights where they need to be.
Another knockup onto Karma. That's going to lock her down. Shockwave is not going to hit anyone, and Karma's inevitably going to take down Rek'Sai. Now Orianna's been caught out by the hook. Flash is coming out. Maokai is on the back line, but it seems his team has left him in a 3v1 situation. He's in less than no man's land, and he's going to jump in onto Karma looking for the kill, but it's not going to be looking good for him. He's going to fall in a 1 for... Actually, that was a 3 for 0.
Yeah, it was... Actually, no, they did get 1. They killed Lucian. So it was 3 for 1 in favor of IBM. But again, those Orianna shockwaves have just been really lackluster so far. If that ability starts hitting and pulling in two, three, four members of IBM, it's almost certainly going to be team fights being won for Salesforce. It's just such a big tool, and to have it missing with especially with the team fight composition that Salesforce has, they have so much of that AoE damage, but they need to be able to pull IBM into that group in order to get that AoE damage off on all of them.
Hopefully it steps up as the game progresses. We're in 30 seconds for the dragon. Not a lot of vision coverage, just around that pixel bush. Scuttlecrab was taken by IBM, so they'll know that Salesforce is getting ready for this. All 5 members are converging on that dragon. It's going to be up in 10 seconds. Hopefully we have a great fight. Not right now, there's not really any aggressive wards around for Salesforce. So right now they're playing blind. They don't know that
that karma
is coming in.
Absolutely wrecking Nami from over the dragon wall.
Taking the kill.
Death Knight is just so strong right now, and that's going to need to be the key focus here for Salesforce. Is if they can take out karma.
Corky's forced the Valkyrie away, but there's the shockwave, not hitting anyone again. Flint Striker getting death charged, and here comes the Nautilus. Ventral Maelstrom being used by the Maokai to prevent a lot of damage from coming down, but that's a double kill onto Lucian already. Now Hippopotamus, he's left in a bad situation. Lucian is gonna live after all of that. Janna using the Monsoon just to heal her team up, and IBM looking really good. 3 kills for 0.
Yeah, and it comes down to this karma just being able to do essentially whatever she wants. She picked off the kill on Nami before that fight even happened, so that's a lot of CC taken away from Salesforce. And then she was able to just walk into the middle of the enemy team and didn't really pay for it. She looked like she was going to get caught out for a bit there, but then the rest of IBM was able to get in behind her and pick up a couple more kills and, of course, get that dragon and now that bottom tower. And just like that, IBM is now up almost 3,000 gold.
Yeah, Karma is knocking on the door of that middle lane second tier tower, but she's going to have to get away. Chilling Smite was used for the slow, sidestepping the tidal wave, but I think it's already over. Karma is going to fall. It's going to go over to the Orianna.
Yeah, biting off a little bit more than she can chew there. She felt really confident in her abilities to 2v1 people before, but 3v1 is a little bit excessive.
She actually probably could have gotten away had she gone through the jungle instead of the lane.
But that chilling smite, and then also that tidal wave, even though it didn't hit, it did zone her back up towards through the lane, which kept her from being able to get out into that jungle. So it was still a good tidal wave, although it was a lot burned to kill the karma. But because that karma is so big, it's okay to burn all those abilities to get that kill.
And it was only really the tidal wave, so there's not too much that they have to really watch out for. Nami's tidal wave should be up in about another 30 seconds, so anytime the next team fight does end up happening. Looks like IBM, they're being really aggressive. Flash and Blinding Dart being used by Teemo. He wants this kill on Nami. He's going to be able to get away. Rek'Sai ultimate joining the fight. He's looking for the kill on to the Janna. Heal being used for the move speed, and I'm so confused as to what just happened right there. Teemo has little to no lockdown, and going in on the Teemo is a strange thing to me. There goes Maokai. He's taken so low. He's actually going to fall. Shockwave now hitting 4 members, but there's no one to follow up on it. The Salesforce team, they're backing away with Death Knight leading the charge against them. With the move speed boost, he's looking for a slow with the inner flame. I don't think he's going to be able to get it. And IBM, after just 1 kill, they're going to just walk away from that fight.
Poor Orianna, she finally lands a really good shockwave, but there's nobody there to follow up on it. I think that's the first time we've seen her hit more than 1 person with it. And, of course, there's just nobody there.
Flint Striker dueling out Death Knight, but with the tether, he's going to get locked down. Samuel Jackson, he doesn't have culling up, so it looks as though Flint Striker is going to be able to get away.
Yeah, we're seeing that happen a lot, where like someone will go in on an opponent and they both just kind of trade back and forth and then back away without anybody dying. just kind of feeling each other out, getting an idea of how much damage they are able to do at the current point in time. And it's not a bad idea, but it's also extremely risky because you run into situations like if that Lucian had happened to be just a little bit closer before that started, it would have been a kill for IBM. And so you really need to be careful when trying to go out for what looks like a pick, especially when there's not a whole lot of vision on the map for either side.
Oh, yeah. And like now the teams are actually buying all too much vision. There's only the sight stones on the supports. And speaking of item builds, let's look at them right now. Rek'Sai going for that Triforce with Nautilus going for the Locket of Iron Solarian. I understand where it's coming from. There's a lot of AP damage coming out from the Maokai, Orianna, and Corki. But honestly, if he had like seen the majority of the Orianna shockwaves, they've been really lackluster. And I don't think that... I think he really could have gone for a little bit more of an armor item instead. Because Corki right now, he's looking at him with 4-1-1. He's gotten the Triforce and a Last Whisper. So he's really just focusing on his physical damage instead of magic damage. It's still a threat. It's still a huge threat. But it's not as big of a threat as his 80 damage now. Kamar getting locked down by the Maokai. There is the Vengeful Maelstrom for the knock-up. And the Arcane Smash, but bam, there is the boom from Vengeful Maelstrom, and that's going to be a cleanup.
Yeah, that was a really, really good fight there for Salesforce. Lucian was not involved as he was still way back at their base, so it was a 4v5 in favor of Salesforce, and they ended up picking up all 4 of those kills. Didn't lose anybody, didn't even lose all that much health on their team, and they're going to be able to push right down this mid lane. This inhibitor tower is definitely going to fall. They should actually be able to get the inhibitor as well because of how much damage they're bringing right now.
Yeah, it doesn't look that they'll be able to do anything. They're just going to take the inhibitor, back off, reset themselves. Dragon's up in 48 seconds, so they'll probably be looking forward to taking that away. Right now, Salesforce, they have 1 dragon, with IBM, 1 dragon as well. So it's still a little bit long. We still have another couple of minutes for a team to actually hit the 3rd dragon milestone and then eventually the 5th dragon. I don't think we're going to be seeing a 5th dragon happen this game.
Yeah, usually once when dragons usually you typically don't see a 5th dragon unless it's one team that just has complete control over the dragon buff all game, which we really haven't seen. It's been heavily contested between the two. So I feel like, we might get 2 to 3 on maybe even both teams, but I don't feel one side's going to be able to get 5.
Look at that bottom wave. That's a huge wave, and that tower is going to take a lot of abuse. If Salesforce can force the fight right now and stall it out, that tower could eventually fall. They're not going to be able to, and looks as though IBM, they take the 2nd dragon for themselves, and that tower, let's actually take a look at it right now. It's not even at half health yet, and they should be able to save it.
Yeah, there was a good call there by IBM, able to get in and get that dragon before Salesforce could even really come contest it. I'm kind of questioning the decision there by Salesforce to not go and just wait around that dragon area.
It would have been risky. It would have been risky. They were low. If you looked at it, they were lower in health, and they didn't really have their key abilities up.
Oh, but they are going to be actually going for this Baron now. It is 33 minutes in, so it should be going down pretty quickly.
And IBM, they have no idea. There's no vision coverage.
Vision on this.
It's down to half health.
They are starting to move up towards it, just getting the idea of, hey, they're not on the map anywhere. Where else could they be? And they are now going to know that they're doing this, but Baron is already down before they get in there.
Are we going to see a fight,
we could be having a fight.
There's the Aqua Prison locking down 3 members, but Nami, she's going to have to force the flash. She's going to force the flash out of Nami to get away. Flash by Orianna used as well, and it looks as though Salesforce, they're going to be able to disengage the fight with the Baron buff. Now that's a huge advantage for them. It's going to allow so much power for their siege. They can push down top or mid lane with that middle inhibitor still down.
Yeah, that was they only lost Nami for that too. They did have to burn quite a few flashes, but there are super minions in the base getting a little bit of damage on that Nexus tower, but not a whole lot to really have to worry about just yet. They're gonna have to be careful though, because as you were mentioning, those Baron buffed minions are gonna be able to help Salesforce push into this IBM base.
I meant top or bottom, not top or mid. I said top and mid. But Corky, he's actually picked up the QSS, and I like it because if you just look at the amount of CC that this team has right now, it's a lot of soft CC. There's not too much hard. There's only really the Karma tether for just like movement stoppage.
There's also the Nautilus being able to clear if Nautilus targets him, he can clear that ability off of him and avoid that heavy knockup that Nautilus can bring in.
Wait, you can QSS depth charge? I didn't know that.
I believe you can.
Really? That is interesting, actually. I did not know that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see when it's used in the fight. Corky is gonna do a lot of damage to that tower, and it's gonna end up falling down. Twisted Advance being used on the team. He's down to half health already, and the fight has been engaged. Orianna, though, she is not with the fight right now. Maokai is tethered down, and he is left alone. He's going to actually be the sacrificial lamb for his team. Orianna still hasn't joined the fight, and that's one kill over to IBM.
And they were able to get that kill quickly enough that they're going to be able to get back and defend their Nexus towers from those super minions in the mid lane. So not the greatest decision here by Salesforce. They really should have either tried to engage that fully or just completely backed off. But the fact that Orianna wasn't with them, that is still so much of their damage and so much of their team fighting that they just couldn't, they didn't feel comfortable fully engaging on it without her being right there with them.
And with the double Locket of Ion Solari, they really shouldn't be too afraid of the Orianna. A lot of magic resistance for the team, and that shield is going to help so much defending against the Corky and Orianna onslaught. Looks as though Teemo has the Rabadon's death cap. I'm not too sure. And for the playstyle he's playing with, he's really just been grouped he's been grouped in the team fights instead of trying to get mushroom presence in the game. I'm not too sure if the Leandries was the optimal build.
I think he's using it a lot more for the poison. Like during the fights, he's kind of just, he isn't really focusing one target. He's kind of just getting an auto attack off on a bunch of different people, which is what he wants to do with the AP build in a team fight. Just get that poison ticking on as many people as possible. And it's been pretty effective so far. I mean, he's been able to drop people's health bars pretty low without them even really. It's kind of sneaky damage in the fact that you don't expect it to do quite as much as it does, because it just sits there and ticks on you and ticks on you, and then before you know it, all of a sudden you've lost a quarter to half of your health without anybody else even hitting you. So I do kind of like it for what they're doing. There's not a whole lot of magic resist coming out from Salesforce either, so he is doing pretty clean damage onto them. And we are going to be seeing the dragon is up in about a minute. So both teams already starting to kind of collapse onto the area, looking for vision.
They really do need to get that control. There's not a lot of pink wards to spot out these Teemo mushrooms. So whatever they spot out, it's going to be the ones that they do end up hitting. Right now, there's only really 2 sweepers on each team. Karma's actually ended up getting the pink trinket, so that's good for her right there, but that really could have just been supplemented with an upgraded sweeper. Maokai in that top lane, he's knocking on the door. The Teemo mushroom, he's going to be able to clear out that minion wave. That's two people in that top lane, one for each team. Maokai has teleport up though.
Yeah, it looks like Blueside is trying to bait Salesforce in through that area where there are those Teemo mushrooms down, and not quite stepping on that one is the Nami, but that's definitely seems to be what they're trying to do. But Salesforce is starting to back off now.
Here comes the teleport. And Nautilus, he's in no man's land. He's away from the rest of the team. This is going to be a 5v4. They're collapsing onto IBM right now. Monsoon being used by the Janna, but Lucian using the culling in the completely wrong direction. The shockwave was beautiful, but it wasn't able to provide any sort of retaliation. And now, Kokorosha entering the team fight. He is doing so much damage. Flint Striker with the knockup onto Kikaboko, but it's not going to do anything else. And this fight is already over with IBM with a full ace, a quadra kill onto Lucian.
Yeah, Karma stealing away the Penta by getting the kill onto Rek'Sai there. But a great job by IBM, able to that Nautilus, even though he was way off in the back of, like, in the middle of Salesforce's team, they ignored him for the most part and just tried to get in onto that back line of IBM, and they were just able to kite the fight away long enough and do enough damage to be able to win it. Now they're just going to use Nautilus as a big tank here and take out this inner tower and continue pushing on. Now they have minions with them. They are going to be able to get this inhibitor tower, but actually maybe not, because those respawn timers are coming up now.
They can rotate to the bottom lane right now and take that tower, but it doesn't seem as though they want to go for it.
Yeah, they are instead deciding to recall back to base and buy a few more items with the gold they had. The Orianna Shockwave in that fight, it did actually only catch Janna in the actual radius of it. It did do a nice job of zoning the rest of the team away, but that's not really what you want to be using it for. You know, you want to be able to actually pull them in and get that big chunk of damage down.
And I gotta say, I was looking really scared for IBM when the culling went in the completely opposite direction. I'm like, culling going nowhere near the enemy team. But they really did just turn it around, and I gotta say, with the addition of Teemo, like, you know, I was a non-believer, but like you said, he's a great disturbance in the team fight.
And it was basically just the fact that Lucian and Karma were able to kind of kite around backwards and just keep themselves alive for long enough to be able to put that damage out, and of course Lucian picking up that quadra kill. And there's Corki using a rocket to anger the Baron and make him start attacking IBM, forcing them to have to move out of the pit.
Yeah, it looks as though we might just see a full 5v5 in that near that Baron, and the winner of this fight could end up just winning the game. We're at 41 minutes. We're at 42 minutes, and death timers are pretty long. Also, Fly with the kill. He's gonna flash over for the Nami, but it's not gonna be available. Here comes the fight. Vengeful Maelstrom being used by Maokai, along with the Twisted Assault. Shockwave still up, but this is a beautiful one. It's two members, but they're not the members they want. Culling being used by Lucian. He's on the backlines, still untouched. He's doing so much damage using the Relentless Pursuit in the backlines. Finally taking the kill onto the Maokai. Rek'Sai, he's trying to do something. A double kill onto the Lucian. A triple kill onto the Lucian. Nami, she's going to be the last surviving member. The hook from Nautilus wasn't able to lock her down, but with the minion wave near that middle near the middle line, they're not gonna be able to continue the assault immediately.
Yeah, the big problem here for Salesforce is they just have not been able to get onto that back line and get onto the Lucian and Karma, who's just standing back and dealing out all of their damage without really much worry at all. I mean, that Lucian, I think he lost maybe a quarter of his health that entire fight, and the entire time he's just standing back peppering the enemy team. So that is going to be the inhibitor tower, and now the inhibitor will be going down for IBM. So both mid lane in.
Oh my God, Lucian destroying Nami. That was just a complete melt.
Yeah, so much damage coming out with that. The proc from the Trinity Force. Every so often, whenever he uses that ability, that double shot attack, it just does so much damage.
Rek'Sai, oh, what is happening? It looks as though she wants to catch out the Nautilus, and a 1v1. Orianna gonna be joining the fight, making a 2v1. Shockwave is available, so they could lock him down. The hook is available, but does he know that it can be used for mobility? There's another knock-up with the burrow from Rek'Sai, and that's Nautilus being taken down. I'm so surprised. He could have used the hook to cover some distance, but he actually used it for I don't even know what to call that.
He used it to try and slow down the Rek'Sai instead of using it to, you know, pull himself further away from them. But now they are going to be going for Baron, but Karma is here to contest it. They're going to actually back off and just go straight onto her.
Yeah, and Corki trying to put as much damage as possible, but Karma is just getting healed up by the mantra.
And now with the rest of blue side showing up, Salesforce is going to have to back off, as IBM is there to contest this Baron, and we could once again be having a big fight here, but Nautilus is still down.
Scuttle fight, scuttle fight, scuttle fight. There's Rek'Sai with the going in. There's Vengeful Maelstrom being used along with the Twisted Advance. Again, Lucian untouched, zoning out the Corki in that fight. Maokai has finally gone in onto him, but he can't do the damage. There's the knockup from Jenna to knock up the Corki. The flash from Corki gonna be used. Oh my god! Relentless pursuit being used by the Lucian. He's looking for the kill. There's a shutdown by Maokai finally on, but he's just gonna ignore the Teemo. Teemo was just waiting on silver platter for him. He's gonna turn his eyes onto Jenna, and that's a double kill onto Maokai.
Maokai having a little bit of blinders on there as he was literally right next to the Teemo and instead walked back in to get to the Janna instead, which Nami could have dealt with. So definitely getting a little bit too focused on one target there, as if they had taken that Teemo, it would have been, again, another person down for that 45, 50 seconds. Meanwhile, Nami getting back to the base to do damage control on those Nexus towers. One of them was dropped to about half health, but thankfully not falling for Salesforce. And so these middle lanes is so precarious right now because both teams have, obviously there's an inhibitor down for Salesforce. IBM's inhibitor is open as it was taken out before, but they're both fighting so heavily over these objectives. Dragon is now up along with Baron. So we'll have to see which objective these two teams do decide to prioritize over the other.
We'll have to see. Right now, they're not making any real movements towards either. IBM does have a lot of vision coverage around the Baron, but that's really only towards their jungle. There's not a lot of vision coverage on the enemy team for either of the teams.
Oh, this could be big right here.
That Maokai and Rek'Sai are getting caught out by 4 members of IBM. The culling is going to be used by the Lucian. Rek'Sai using the tunnels to try and get away. No slow from Karma. Talking down. There goes Rek'Sai, but her ultimate was interrupted. She's going to use another tunnel to try and get away. Tidal Wave. Oh, there's an Aqua Prison being used by Nami, locking down Teemo and Karma. No kill is going to be traded over just yet.
Yeah, very, very risky situation there as Rek'Sai almost going down. It is going to be IBM going for this dragon. It's going down so quickly.
There's a tidal wave.
Able to get in.
Yep, there's the third dragon on to the I don't even know who it went to, but Corki taking a kill. I don't even know. Monsoon being used by Janna. Maokai is in the backline providing some form of assistance for his team. Corki's going to end up falling over to the Karma. Lucian, he's in the middle. He's actually still alive, doing so much damage to the Maokai. And it looks as though this game, that's not actually a full ace. That's 4 members dead already. That's not a full ace. That is not a full ace.
Rek'Sai was not in that fight to go down. She was solo before that. She really just didn't get involved. And it is going to be 4 members though, with those long cooldown time death timers.
It might be death push. It might be death push.
It could be, as they do have those 2 super minions pushing in with them. Rek'Sai is going to try and defend, but she's going to get obliterated. And with still 30 seconds left before anybody's up, this is definitely going to be game for IBM.
This is that last team fight for me was, oh my god, no! The troll inhibitor! Troll inhibitor! It's going to save the Nexus for a little bit while longer. I don't think they're going to be able to defend against it. And the game is going over to IBM over Salesforce.
A really good game there, played by both sides. Very, very back and forth. That gold lead changed hands. Had to have been like 5 or 6 times. But in the end, it was IBM getting that big team fight down by Dragon, able to push Rek'Sai out of the fight before it even started, and then use that numbers advantage to get the fight they wanted and push into the base.
That last team fight was so hectic for me. You could just see I was so muddled. I'm like,
It was all over the place, but because of those all over hectic team fights, definitely were in IBM's advantage. Whereas Salesforce was definitely looking to get more of that kind of the controlled all-in team fights. But the amount of disengage that was available for IBM was able to prevent those from happening, and again get those kind of hectic, all over long, drawn out fights, which is what they kind of specialized in.
All right, so that's gonna be the end of the game. Hope you guys had hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and follow me on YouTube, Twitter, and YouTube. I don't know if you have any social media.
YouTube, Twitter, and YouTube.
YouTube, Twitter, and YouTube. Yep. Two YouTubes. I have YouTube 1 and YouTube 2.
Well, I do have a Twitter that I can be followed on.
Which is?
And that is actually at TastyBacon LLC.
All right, and I'll be sure to put that in the comments. So, hope you guys enjoy the game, and I hope you guys have a great day.